Hello, this is Javante Smith. This is week 8, and this is assignment 8.1. And it reads: narrate how you will structure a session in your future role. Clearly explain how and when you will include family members, a loved one, a support person, and/or other individuals, teachers, peers, friends, in support session or meeting. So the first thing as a school guidance counselor is I would do a needs assessment, and that's really to determine the need by making sure that I am accessible and that I can be reached. So if a student come to me or if a teacher come to me, I am open and ready to have dialogue conversation. However, I need to create a meeting time for me and the student or client to discuss what's going on. But before I do that, I want to ensure that the student or the client parent know that we are in communication and they are expressing themselves to me. So I will make sure that I send home a consent form and expect for the client or the student to bring it back at the earliest convenience so we can get our sessions going on. The next thing is to meet at least 2 times out the week for about 6 weeks or more. That gives me time to really dig deep into whatever they may be experiencing. However, it will vary based upon the situation. Some kids come to you because they're having a bad day, and others come to you based upon they are going through things, they're being challenged with things, they have experienced different situations. So it varies based on the child need. The next thing is as the session begins to progress, I'll ask um, within a couple of sessions into it, would they like to invite a second person in? So, for example, if a student is having, issues at home and they say that their mom is emotionally abusive, I would ask, would it be okay for them to have their parent come in to have a conversation? Um, if they say yes, of course they have um, the right to say no. However, it is important that I make sure that they are aware um, if we do bring in somebody. Now, because it is important while going through the sessions to make it very clear to them that everything that is being said is confidential. However, the only thing is if the client was to be harmed to themselves or to others, or someone was trying to harm them, then I would have to break confidentiality and go above um, to different resources that are more knowledgeable to help them with. I will be there every step of the way, but I just want to ensure and I want to inform them every time that we meet. I want to re-go through some of the boundaries, some of the expectations of that to make sure that they are very aware that it is going to be a safe zone. However, the safe zone consists of I am a mandated reporter, so therefore I do have to, report if A, they are harm to themselves, B, they are going to harm someone else, and C, if someone is trying to harm them. So I would extend the invite to whoever, the guardian, parent, friend. In this particular case, I would extend the offer to the child's mother, based upon what some of the things that the client was telling me. I think it would be a good idea for both to sit down. Now, the goal is for them to come to a common ground and understand difference of opinions. All right, and I'm gonna get to that in just a second, but that's the goal. So, extend the invite to the parent. We want to make sure that the student feel comfortable, 110%, only because as a counselor, you are the advocate. You are advocating for your client all the way, and you want to make sure your client feel 110% safe in that space, in that environment, no judgment zone. So I would ask several times, do they want to um, invite the person, or in this case, invite their mom? If he say yes, yes, we'll. I'll extend the offer. If the client say no, then I will have to respect that. But in this case, let's say that they do. They say they would love for their parent to come in and have a conversation. Now, it's super important to remain aware of how the session may make the client feel, and remain aware if you need to terminate the session at any given point. So the parent come in. You want to make sure that you set boundaries. You want to make sure that you go through all the expectations, the rules, the confidentiality. What's left in here stays in here. What's said in here stays in here. You want to make sure that mom signs a form as well, because again, we don't want information being taken out of here and said someone else. But privacy is important, and I think that it is, um, regardless if parents or as a child. So make sure that we have a solid foundation in boundary setting and confidentiality. The next thing is, again, try to hear both situations out to the best of your knowledge. So as mom is talking, make sure that the client is really listening to what she has to say and her perspective, as well as the client is talking. You want to make sure that he is also aware of her perspective. Now, he said that mom is emotionally abusive, won't let him stay out past 11 o'clock. He's rebellious, made out to be the bad guy in this situation. He thinks that she's just the worst because he can't do what some of his friends do. So this is all of what he's been telling me. Mom is very concerned and being very protective, making sure that she keep an out on him. So being present, level-headed, single parent, and is very concerned about her child. Now, when they're both in a setting, it is important to make sure you provoke thoughts about differences of opinions. Make sure that they understand uh, each other viewpoint, but don't stick around for a long time to focus in on their viewpoint. Make sure everyone is listening and comprehending what is being said, because it's one thing to just hear your side and then tune what the other person is saying out. That's not how I want it. That's not how it's supposed to work. But you're supposed to literally um, understand what that person is saying. Okay, so mom is really not the bad guy. She just wants the best for you, and she's trying to get an understanding of why you want to be out past 11 o'clock. Who are you hanging out with? Where are you guys going? You kind of want to make it seem like you kind of want to dress it up in a nice way, but also be 100% honest with the client, because you never want the client, or you never want the client to feel like you're taking the parent side, but you also don't want the parent think that we're taking the client side. But we're just trying to get a clear understanding of both perspective and put it together and create this outcome to where we all have an understanding with each other. So um, the mom, she doesn't really want, but she does want answers because she's been living longer than, so she kind of knows what the street life may bring. We want to know where you're at, where you're going, who you're hanging out with, what are you doing past 11 o'clock if it's the school night. You want to make sure she's just being a proactive parent, and that's what I would break down to him. Now, on the flip side of that, we understand that kids are kids. So sometimes kids are going to um, they're going to try different things. They're going to be teenagers. They want to hang out. They want to be with their friends. They want to try new things. I understand that, but it's really just getting in the habit of, you want to get in a space where you can understand both sides and you can move forward. And that's what I plan to do. I would again get both perspectives and then come up with, okay, so the client, you understand that mom is just trying to be perspective, just obey the rules, because if she didn't necessarily care for you, she would let you stay out at until 1 through 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. So I would create different scenarios for the client